debate in which the Orion Academy won. So for the information of us now gathered here, the Orion Academy has secured a spot in the finals. And we are about to see which school will join them in the finals next month. So a big welcome to everyone here this afternoon, both from the Dominica Grammar School and from the Pierre Charles Secondary School. Good afternoon as well to our audience members who are viewing us live via Emonews and Dominica News Online. And good afternoon to other audience members who are here physically, parents and supporters. So this afternoon, we will be engaging in debates, not us, but the debaters will be engaging in a debate on the topic, AI-driven platforms should be heavily regulated to protect young people's cognitive ability, creativity, and privacy. So that is the topic that is up for debate this afternoon. To assist in adjudicating on this very interesting topic, we have three judges who have graced us with their presence, and what I will do is introduce our judges at this time. The chief judge has been nominated. I feel it was as democratic as it could have been with him being the only male on the panel, but the chief judge this afternoon is Mr. David Edwards. And Mr. Edwards has had multiple roles in the education sector at both the national and regional levels. He's a former secondary school principal, and he served the Ministry of Education as project manager and acting permanent secretary. And for over 20 years, he has worked as a regional consultant on a wide range of development projects. Although he was initially trained in science, he has completed postgraduate degrees in education planning and management and business administration. He was born at Wesley, but resides in my area, Castle Comfort. Good afternoon to Mr. David Edwards, Chief Judge this afternoon. The second judge on the panel is Ms. Merita Hyacinth. And Ms. Hyacinth is the Acting Chief Youth Development Officer in the Ministry of Youth, Sports, Culture, and Community Development. And she's the owner of Mogenesis Heritage Consultancy. And she holds a degree in social studies, history, and a postgrad certificate in heritage studies and curriculum writing. She's a member of JCI Dominica since 2016, and she has held leadership roles, including being the president of JCI Dominica West Indies in 2020, and the national president of JCI West Indies in 2024. I welcome to the judges panel, Ms. Merita Hyacinth. And the third judge on the panel is my colleague, Ms. Nadine Riviere, who I always bring on in these endeavors. I call her my English mind and advisor at the Dominica State College, but she has judged various events, including the Intersecondary Schools Debating Competition. She holds a master's degree in English and history and has earned several certificates in event planning, public speaking, and leadership. She's currently the Dean of General Studies at the Dominica State College, and I will add, and the Student Affairs. I welcome to the judging panel, Ms. Nadine Riviere. So these are our three judges who will have the task of determining who will be moving on this afternoon to the finals of the Intersecondary Schools Debating Competition. And now it's the time to introduce those who will be fighting for that place, the debaters themselves. Proposing the topic, we have the Dominica Grammar School this afternoon, and the Dominica Grammar School is represented by Zadie Trocard and Renee Talbot. Zadie, I will call you up first to take your position here at the table. Zadie Trocard is a science student at the Dominica Grammar School. I am kind of advancing you a little early to my school, but he is a science student. He also indicated he likes math and French, and that he would like to, in the future, become a biomedical engineer. So we welcome Zadi Trocad of the Dominica Grammar School for speaker on the proposing team. And the second speaker will be Miss Renee Talbot. I will call her to the front at this time. She's a science student herself, and she has indicated that in the future she would like to be an architectural engineer. So welcome into the fore, Miss Renee Talbot. So this is the team from the Dominica Grammar School who will be proposing the moot this afternoon. And on the opposing side, we have the Pierre Charles Secondary School, and the Pierre Charles Secondary School will be represented by Shenika Alexander, and she is a science student, but she loves theater arts. In the future, Shenika has said she would like to be a medical doctor. So let's welcome Ms. Shenika Alexander from the Pierre Charles Secondary School. She will be seconded or ably assisted by Ms. Myra Dover. And Ms. Dover is a business student. She has some entrepreneurial skill, owning her own business already, but in the future, she would like to be an architect. I welcome Ms. Myra Dover of the Pierre Charles Secondary School. So, audience, we are well set. The judges have been introduced. The debaters have been introduced. I will remind you of just some brief rules. In this debate, the first segment will be the prepared argument segment. The first speaker from each school will have 10 minutes in which to deliver his or her arguments. And the second speaker from each school will have 7 minutes to deliver her arguments. The timekeeper is located at the front, so Ms. Shakai Andrew will be serving as the timekeeper this afternoon. So debaters, that's where your eyes should fall. She will give an indication of when there is 3 minutes left for the first speaker and 1 minute left, and of course when time is up. So timekeeper located at the front. The rebuttal segment will follow the prepared argument segment, and that segment, the debaters, the lead speaker of each team will have 3 minutes to deliver a refutation and or summation of the debate. So the other rule I'll point out for the audience is that this is the time to make sure that your cell phones are on silent or off, and that you do not disturb the debaters in any way. You can withhold all applause and outbursts for the end of each speaker's presentation. Okay, so with that said, I think we are all set and ready to go. Let me remind you of the topic. AI-driven platforms should be heavily regulated to protect young people's cognitive ability, creativity, and privacy. Proposing the moot, the Dominica Grammar School, opposing the Pierre Charles Secondary School. Debaters, are you ready? Yes. Yes? Is that a sure yes? Yes? Judges, are you ready? Yes, the judges are on board. Audience members, are you ready? Yes. All right, the audience is definitely ready. So it is debate time. We will start with the first speaker from the Dominica Grammar School, Mr. Zadi Trocad. I now call him to the podium. He has 10 minutes in which to deliver his arguments. Mr. Trocad.
Good afternoon, Madam Moderator, honorable judges, my talented colleague, opponents, and all of you amazing people in the audience. Let's take a moment and think about this. How many times a day do we reach for our phones? Whether it's asking Siri for the weather or typing a quick question into Google, AI is already deeply moving into our lives. But here's the catch. While AI can make things easier, it's also quietly destroying parts of our brains, limiting our creativity and killing our privacy. That's why today, we stand firm in one truth. AI-driven platforms should be heavily regulated to protect young people's cognitive abilities, creativity, and privacy. We believe it's crucial to protect the future of young people, our generation, so that we don't lose the very things that makes us who we are, our abilities to think critically, to create freely, and to keep our privacy safe. In this debate, I'm going to show you why AI, if left unchecked, threatens these precious necessities. And by the end of it, I know you will agree that it's time we put some real heavy rules in place before AI takes more than we can afford to give. My colleague will later build on this foundation by discussing the psychological impact, misinformation and manipulation, and how AI-based biases cost people opportunities, which fall under cognitive abilities. Before we get into the heart of the argument, it is imperative that I define the key terms in the news in order to give us a clearer understanding of the topic at hand. Cambridge Dictionary defines heavily as being to a great degree or in a strong and significant way, and regulation as enforcing rules to make sure things are safe, fair, and accountable. Artificial intelligence is defined as computer systems that can do things that usually require human intelligence, like learning, problem solving, and decision making, according to Oxford Dictionary. Oxford Dictionary also states that privacy is the right to control your personal information and keep it safe. Cognitive ability is the mental skill we use to learn, think, and solve problems, according to Merriam-Webster Dictionary. And creativity is the ability to come up with new, original ideas, Collins Dictionary. So in simple terms, this debate is about whether we should set strict rules for AI platforms to protect young people's ability to think for themselves, to be creative, and to keep their personal information safe. Let me show you how AI threatens our cognitive abilities, creativity, and privacy, and why we need heavy regulations to keep things in check. Firstly, let's address cognitive abilities. Imagine a world where young people don't need to think about questions because AI instantly gives them answers. Does that worry you, judges? It should. Do you remember a time when you actually had to memorize phone numbers? Opponents, how many phone numbers have you memorized, besides with your parents? The fact is, we don't do that anymore because we rely on our phone's contact list to do it for us. And the same thing is happening with AI. It is making us mentally lazy. For example, Mr. Michael Augustine, the head of the English department at my school, told me that students are not encouraged to write stories at home anymore. Why? Because they just use AI to generate a quick story. And when asked about the meaning of words in those stories, they can't even define them. This is concerning. Students don't even want to think for themselves anymore. AI tools like search engines and virtual assistants might be easy to use, but they come with a cost. Using AI to write your essay is like putting on fake muscles. You might impress at first, but sooner or later, someone is going to ask you to leave something. Studies from the UK Parliament show how AI algorithms prioritize quick, attention-grabbing content over thoughtful learning. Instead of challenging ourselves with deep ideas, we are constantly bombarded with shallow, quick-fix information. This reduces our abilities to concentrate, analyze, and think independently. Without strong regulations, tech companies will continue training young minds to consume rather than question, react rather than reason, and scroll rather than think. Secondly, AI is eroding creativity. Creativity is the heart of progress. Without it, there's no new art, no innovations, no breakthroughs, nothing. But right now, AI is taking over creative fields. AI can now compose music, write poems, and even create visual art. In a very recent article from CNN, dated the 10th of March 2025, Celine Dion warns fans to beware of fake AI-generated songs appearing online. Celine's management team had to put out an Instagram post which declared, and I quote, "Please be advised that these recordings are fake and not approved and are not part of our official discography," end quote. Madam Moderator, this is what happens when AI remains unheavily regulated. It will continue to steal from artists. The non-profit Artist Rights Alliance called on AI developers, tech companies, platforms, and digital music services to, and I quote, cease the use of artificial intelligence to infringe upon and devalue the rights of human artists. Heavy regulation is necessary to make sure AI doesn't become the gatekeeper of creations, but rather a tool for inspirations. Without proper safeguards, AI could stifle human creativity and hurt the cultural and artistic growth that we need to thrive. Finally, AI puts privacy at extreme risk. Every time we search something, click on a link, or have a conversation online, AI is recording and analyzing our every move. For young people who don't always understand the consequences, this can be a huge privacy issue. Major tech companies collect tons of personal data right under our noses, often using it for targeted ads or selling it to third parties. A scandal in 2018 showed how Facebook used data from 50 million users without permission in a Cambridge University data breach. Cadwallader and Graham Harris in 2018. That's how far AI-driven exploitation can go. Now, some may argue that young people can make their own choices when it comes to AI by choosing whether they put all their trust into these platforms or not. But let's be real. AI is designed to manipulate us by hiding what we really need to notice. Some may say that without heavy regulations, we won't stand a chance against its solutions. AI-powered surveillance is also becoming common in schools. A 2022 Guardian report revealed that AI tools used in classrooms to track students' online activity have led to serious privacy breaches, with sensitive data being accessed by people who shouldn't have it. Plus, platforms like Snapchat and Instagram use AI to predict and manipulate user behavior, sometimes exposing young people to harmful content. Common Sense Media 2023 found that these platforms use AI to target young users with personalized ads, which tend to be a little too personal. Moderator, judges, audience, tell me, have you ever had the experience where you were talking about something with a friend, then later on you went online and bam, you saw ads about the very thing you were talking about? Should we continue to let tech companies impose on the next generation's privacy without any oversight? No. Strong regulations would ensure that AI develops in a way that protects our privacy, not exploits it. The need for AI regulation is not just an opinion. It is essential for our future. AI-driven platforms are a real threat to young people's cognitive abilities, creativity, and privacy. Heavy regulations would limit AI's power over our lives, making sure it serves humanity and helps us grow. If we don't act now, we risk a future where independent thinking is gone, creativity is dead, and privacy is just a thing of the past. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Trocard. For the judges, his time was 8 minutes and 52 seconds. I'd now like to call on the first speaker from the opposing team, the Pierre Charles Secondary School, Ms. Shenika Alexander, to deliver her arguments. She has 10 minutes in which to do so. Ms. Alexander.
Wait, let me test it. Are they going? I think I had a good spot. I don't know. Not that tall. It will have to work quick because I have to go by KFC later. day, honorable judges, moderator, respected judges, esteemed audience. Before I begin, I'd like everyone to get out your cell phone and hold them out. Imagine if someone telling you they're going to heavily restrict your devices. How would that make you feel? Huh? Taking out everything, your communication, entertainment, and even education. This is why I stand in opposition to the motion that AI-driven platforms should be heavily regulated to protect young people's cognitive ability, creativity, and privacy. By exploring one, how AI can serve as a powerful educational resource, and two, how it can boost cognitive growth. I hope to show that these platforms are not threats to be restricted, but allies to be harnessed. Let us dive deeper into the heart of this debate. But first, allow me to define the key terms in the moot. 1. AI-driven platforms. According to European Commission 2020, AI-driven platforms use algorithms to learn from data, adapt to users, and perform tasks like contact generation and personalized recommendations. They include adaptive learning tools, virtual tutors, and intelligent assessment system, enhancing education rather than undermining it. 2. Heavily regulated. The Cambridge Dictionary defines regulation as an official rule or act of controlling something. When we say heavily regulated, we refer to strict and comprehensive controls that significantly limits or restricts the development, deployment, and use of AI-driven platforms. 3. Cognitive ability. The American Psychological Association, APA, describes cognitive ability as the mental capacity for thinking, reasoning, problem solving, and learning. 4. Creativity. Sir Ken Robinson famously defined creativity as the process of having original ideas that have value. AI-driven tools can foster this process by offering novel prompts, example, and collaborative features. 5. Privacy. According to the General Data Protection Regulation, privacy is the right to have personal data protected and to maintain control over one's own information. Too often, when people hear the term AI-driven platform, they picture ChatGPT or similar chatbots. But AI is so much more. According to the Ken AI-driven educational tools, it helps educators identify and support struggling students by analyzing performance and behavioral data, offering targeted experience, remedial materials, or personalized tutoring. Isn't it our responsibility to focus on these tools by one? Why don't you just want to fixate on just one? Explore all of them. Platforms like Khan Academy, IXL, they adapt content to each student's performance, meeting learners where they are needed and guiding them. This personalized approach fosters autonomy and responsibility. With a study by Hannah et al. 2024 showing a 62% increase in test scores. Isn't it worth to leverage such effective educational tools? Similarly, creative platforms like Canvas AI and AI Design feature music composition apps, enabling students to experiment with ideas, enhancing creativity. Stanford University AI Index 2024 found that 84% of students reported improved brainstorming abilities with AI. Shouldn't we see AI as a creative ally rather than a threat? Imagine, there are some students in my class who can't even spell simple words or even listen to notes when the teacher is talking. But speech-to-text AI can solve these issues, being the superhero of their day. Like Wood et al. Said, that it will improve their reading comprehension by 36%. Can we afford to overlook these benefits? Imagine a tech job class where you get to see the finished apartment complex before picking up a single pencil. Or a woodwork class where you get to see your nice luxurious chair and you sit down on it before even cutting into a single piece of wood. My opponents, AI is just a chatbot providing quick answers. It is a vast ecosystem of platforms and tools that offer personalized, inclusive, and innovative solutions. By embracing the full spectrum of AI-driven platforms, we can transform classrooms into environments where every student's unique abilities and needs are recognized and nurtured. Let's move forward with courage and curiosity, not fear. Let's advocate for responsible use rather than blanket restrictions. The future of education depends on how we integrate and adapt to emerging technologies. Are you ready to take that step? Let's move to point 2. Is AI really hindering cognitive development? Think again. Critics often claim that AI hampers cognitive development. But let's pause and consider this. What if AI is actually doing the opposite? The truth is, AI supports higher order thinking skills by acting as a powerful learning partner. Imagine having a knowledgeable guide at your side. Someone who not only supports and challenges you, but they're pushing you to think deeper and reach higher. That's exactly what AI does. Vygotsky would approve. Renowned physiologist Lev Vygotsky's theory of zone of proximal development, ZPD, highlights the gap between what learners can achieve independently and what they can accomplish with guidance. AI seamlessly fills that gap by acting as the more knowledgeable order, pushing learners just beyond their current capabilities. But wait, AI doesn't just stop at being a mentor, it goes further. Imagine empowering not just yourself, but your peers too. AI provides insights, tailored feedback, and practical resources that equip students and teachers to become mentors themselves. Have you ever used an AI tool to master a tricky concept and then turn around and help your friends? If so, you have proved that AI helps peer-to-peer nurturing learning. Picture this. You're using an AI app that not only guides you through tricky phrases, but also encourages you to team up with classmates to refine your skills. It's not just theory, it's practice. The study Artificial Intelligence in Language Instruction 2023 shows that these apps promote collaborative tasks where learners correct and support each other's languages. Doesn't that sound a lot like Vygotsky's emphasis on social interaction as a cornerstone of learning? According to Diana Rothstein et al. 2023, students appreciate how AI enhances critical thinking by using data analytics to answer questions, long-held ideas, and so on. But that's not all. Anthony Grease 2024 points out that AI promotes metacognition by tracking progress, offering strategies to improve, and helping users plan, reflect, and self-regulate. Think about it. How often do we get the chance to rethink our own thinking with the help of intelligent AI? So, is AI really the villain we're planning it to be? No, hardly. In reality, it's a dynamic facilitator of cognitive growth, pushing us to think critically, collaborate effectively, and take charge of our learning journeys. Next time someone argues that AI stunts development, challenge that notion with courage. You know the facts. In light of these points, heavily regulating AI-driven platform would be a disservice to the very students we aim to protect. AI as a tool for educational benefit demonstrate how these platforms can be personalized, inclusive, and innovative, while cognitive growth illustrates how AI can support deeper thinking, self-reflection, and collaborative learning. Are we prepared to deny our youth the chance to explore these opportunities simply because we fear the unknown? Let us harness AI's potential to enrich education, champion cognitive growth, and equip our young people they need to thrive in an ever-evolving world. I thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Alexander. For the judges, her time was 9 minutes and 40 seconds. I'd now like to call to the podium the second speaker from the proposing team from the Dominica Grammar School, Ms. Renee Talbot. She will have 7 minutes in which to deliver her arguments. Ms. Talbot.
Imagine waking up, grabbing your phone, and before you know it, hours have vanished. You scroll endlessly, feeling drained, but unable to stop. This isn't just a bad habit. AI is manipulating your attention, controlling what you see, and harming your mental health. Good afternoon, Madam Moderator, respected judges, my most competent colleague, my esteemed opponents, and everyone here today. I stand in firm support of regulating AI-driven platforms to protect young people's mental well-being, privacy, and autonomy. I shall seek to expound on the points: 1, it fuels addiction; 2, it spreads misinformation; and 3, it makes biased decisions that affect our lives. If left unchecked, we risk losing control over our own thoughts, choices, and future. So, Madam Moderator, I ask you, will we allow AI to control our generation? Or will we take action to protect your minds? No, let's get straight into our argument. However, my colleague has already defined the key terms, and I hold true to these definitions. Firstly, let's look at AI addiction and its psychological impact. Social media and video apps aren't just entertainment. They are designed to be addictive. Every swipe, like, and share trains AI algorithms to keep you hooked. The more time you spend scrolling, the more AI learns how to manipulate you. A 2022 study by the American Psychological Association found that excessive AI-driven social media use is linked to higher anxiety, depression, and declining attention spans in teenagers. The more we consume mindless content, the harder it becomes to focus, think critically, and engage with real life. Madam Moderator, is this the future we want for young people? A 2023 Common Sense Media report found that teenagers now spend an average of 8 hours and 39 minutes daily on screens, mostly consuming AI-recommended content. This addiction is rewiring our brains. A Stanford University study, 2021, warns that prolonged AI exposure reduces cognitive flexibility, making it harder for young people to think deeply and problem solve. Meanwhile, a Harvard Business Review study, 2020, found that 68% of young people prefer texting over face-to-face conversations, proving that AI is reshaping human interaction itself. Regulation works. According to the World Health Organization, 2020, when governments introduced warning labels and restrictions on cigarettes, smoking rates dropped dramatically. If we heavily regulate AI with similar agency, we can prevent digital addiction from destroying your minds. Secondly, AI fuels misinformation and manipulation. AI doesn't just affect our mental health, it's warping our perception of reality. A 2018 study by the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT, found that false information spreads 6 times faster than the truth on AI-driven platforms. Why? Because AI prioritizes engagement over accuracy. According to Pew Research Center, 2023, today, 72% of young people get their news from social media, making them vulnerable to AI-driven misinformation. Judges, how can young people make informed decisions when AI is manipulating what they believe to be true? Additionally, there is a rise of deepfakes, the most dangerous misinformation tool. Deepfakes
AI-generated videos and images are a serious threat to truth itself. Imagine a fake video of a world leader declaring war, or a celebrity caught in a scandal that never happened. In 2018, a viral deepfake of a politician gained millions of views before being debunked. But by then, the damage was already done. A University of Oxford study, 2022, found that 58% of young people couldn't distinguish between deepfake videos and real ones. Madam Moderator, if we cannot tell what is real anymore, how can we trust anything we see online? Lastly, AI's biased decision-making is costing people opportunities. AI doesn't just shape what we see online, it's deciding our futures. Universities, employers, and even courts use AI to determine who gets an opportunity and who doesn't. But here's the issue. AI isn't neutral. It learns from biased data, meaning it can reinforce racism, sexism, and classism. A Harvard University study, 2021, found that AI-powered university admission models favor students from wealthier backgrounds, automatically disadvantaging lower-income applicants. In hiring, Amazon had to shut down its AI recruitment tool in 2018 after discovering it favored male applicants over female ones. Even in the criminal justice system, AI is making life-altering decisions. A 2016 ProPublica investigation into the Compass system revealed that AI assigned higher response to Black individuals, leading to harsher sentencing outcomes, even when their crimes were identical to those of white defendants. Judges, should we allow AI to decide who gets an education, a job, or a second chance based on flawed biased data? The solution? Heavy regulation. Madam Moderator, judges, audience. We need to heavily regulate AI platforms to protect young people's cognitive ability, creativity, and privacy. We can do so by safeguarding them against the psychological impact, misinformation, and by creating a fair environment for their creativity. Judges, we know we have begun to won you over to our side of this debate. I now declare it over.
Thank you, Ms. Talbot. For the judges, her time was 6 minutes and 40 seconds. I'd now like to call on the second speaker from the opposing team, the Pierre Charles Secondary School, Ms. Myra Dover, to the podium. Ms. Dover will have 7 minutes in which to deliver her arguments. Ms. Dover.
Good day to the moderator, esteemed judges, worthy opponents, and my fellow audience members. Today, I stand firmly in opposition to the motion that AI-driven platforms should be heavily regulated to protect young people's cognitive ability, creativity, and privacy. While the intentions behind this motion may seem noble, the consequences of implementing such heavy regulations would be far more harmful than beneficial. Have we truly considered the long-term implications of stifling progress in a rapidly evolving digital world? To support my stance, I will focus on 2 key points. Firstly, heavy regulation of AI-driven platforms would put students at a significant disadvantage in an increasingly digital world. Secondly, instead of heavy regulation, we should focus on providing guidance on how the responsible use of AI platforms for young people. Firstly, heavy regulation of AI would put young people at a disadvantage in STEM education and future careers. Imagine this, a world where AI is everywhere, embedded in healthcare, finance, education, and agriculture. In fact, 47% of learning management systems will incorporate AI within the next 3 years, according to the AI in Education Statistics 2023. That's a huge portion of the education system already adopting AI to help students learn in more personalized, efficient ways. Isn't that exactly the kind of innovation we want for our young people? Tools that help them learn better, grow faster, and be more prepared for tomorrow's world. But here's the problem. What if we decide to heavily regulate AI? What would that mean for the students who are just beginning to explore the world of technology? We'd be limiting their exposure to the very tools that are helping others excel. We risk creating a generation that is underprepared for the demands of a tech-driven world. Students aspiring to careers in data science, software engineering, or AI need hands-on experience with AI-driven platforms to build essential skills. This is not just theoretical. AI is already transforming industries like agriculture, revolutionizing crop management and pest detection. In Dominica, where agricultural challenges persist, AI's potential is immense, especially given the $485 million EC loss following Hurricane Maria. Can we afford to leave our young people out of this transformative opportunity? Heavy regulation would only create barriers between young people and the technologies they need to thrive. According to AI governance, and in a complex and rapidly changing regulatory landscape, a global perspective 2024, overregulation stifles innovation rather than fostering growth. AI is revolutionizing industries, improving cancer diagnosis, supporting disaster response, and tackling food insecurity. If we want young people to be at the forefront of this progress, they must have access to these tools. Should we really hold them back from changing the world out of fear of the unknown? The answer is simple. Instead of imposing heavy regulations, let's equip our young people with the knowledge and tools they need to shape their own futures responsibly. Secondly, instead of heavy regulation, provide guidance on the use of AI platforms for young people. Let's think about parenting for a moment. Imagine a parent who decides to heavily restrict all forms of social media from their adolescent's life simply because they are scared of the negative impacts. Sounds extreme, right? Now, let's think of this scenario. The parent understands that social media is going to be a part of their child's future. So instead of imposing strict limitations on social media, they take the time to explain to them how to use it responsibly, how to avoid harmful content, how to engage in meaningful online interactions, and how to safeguard their privacy. Shouldn't we take the same approach with AI? Rather than heavily regulating AI, we should guide young people through its use as it's already part of our daily lives. Offering courses, workshops, and resources will help them understand AI ethics, data privacy, and how algorithms work. Strict regulations would hinder their ability to grow in a world shaped by technology. Let's teach them to use AI responsibly and ethically. We are not against regulation, far from it. We are against heavy regulation. This will create a hostile environment where young people are shut out from the very tools they need to develop critical skills. A study by Zaidan et al. 2024 in AI governance suggests that excessive regulation leads to stifled innovation, making it difficult for students to explore the vast possibilities. AI has to offer. Instead of restricting students' access to AI, we should empower them with knowledge. In conclusion, heavy regulation of AI-driven platforms is not the solution. Let us not choose a path that limits progress, but rather one that fosters innovation and responsible use. Let's empower our young people. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Dover. For the judges, her time was 7 minutes and 2 seconds. So, ladies and gentlemen, this concludes the prepared arguments segment of the debate. And the debaters now have to get ready for the rebuttal. Let me remind our audience, not remind because I never said it initially, but let me tell the audience what the judges are looking for in the segment that just expired, the prepared arguments. The judges will be looking for soundness of points, logical development, audibility and clarity, posture and personality, and command of material. So that's what the judges are looking for from the segment that just ended. But in the one that is to come, the rebuttal, they will be looking for team coordination, general analysis of the debate, recall of points, the ability to refute the points, and spontaneity. So that's what the judges have at hand, and we are going to give the debaters a 5-minute time allotment in which to work on their rebuttals. During that time, we will be silent so that they can focus and prepare their rebuttals. At this time, I'm sure they're still preparing, and I'm not silent, but I'll give them a little additional time before we put that 5-minute time on the clock to just acknowledge the sponsors of the Intersecondary Schools Debating Competition. And our major sponsor this year is Josephine Gabriel and Company Limited. We're also sponsored by the National Bank of Dominica, the Republic Bank, Jay's Bookstore, the Wasco, TBS Radio, Q95 FM Radio, Domlec, Morrow and Company Limited, the National Cooperative Credit Union, Fortium Hotel, HHV Whitchurch and Company Limited, Lindomat, the Insurance Company of the West Indies, Fine Foods Inc., and KFC. I also have some private individuals who have sponsored: Catherine Abraham, Dr. Joshua Lloyd and Mrs. Carencia Lloyd, Maisel Pascal, Janine Christian, Freeman Consulting LLC, which is Ms. Mutessa Freeman, and of course Annika Bellot through Water and Can, and Luana Lura through Finance Focus. So these are our sponsors, and our partners, of course, the UE Global Campus, where we're right now, and the Dominica State College Literary and Debating Society, and the Ministry of Education. So, with all that being said, and sponsors, thank you so much, we now set the clock to 5 minutes, so timekeeper, 5 minutes officially begins now. During this time, I ask you to be as quiet as you can be to give the debaters some time to prepare their rebuttals. Okay, timekeeper. Yes, the 5 minutes is up. Audience, you have been amazingly quiet. This, I think, is the most quiet audience I've ever had for a rebuttal preparation segment. I am amazed. So I think the debaters got a good chance to put together their thoughts. I see they still shuffling through papers, but the time is here. It is time for the rebuttals. The rebuttals are given by the lead speaker of each team. What that means is that first up, from the proposing team, the Dominica Grammar School, the rebuttal will be delivered by Mr. Zadi Trukad. Mr. Trukad, now is your time. Please come to the podium to deliver your rebuttal. You have 3 minutes in which to do so.
Good afternoon, Madam Moderator, honorable judges, my talented colleague, opponents, and all of you amazing people in the audience. I am here before you again to prove that heavy regulations for AI is necessary to protect the future of young people. The opponents are basically trying to catch water with a strainer by saying that AI can serve as a knowledgeable mentor. But as a student myself who uses AI, I know that AI doesn't properly explain certain topics, much less for people who have a hard time spelling, like she said. The knowledge that AI has will be more difficult for them to understand than what they learn in school. They also said that students are individually guided by AI and it serves as a mentor. While AI can support students, it can also lead to over-reliance. Like I previously stated, this will make young people mentally lazy and unable to think independently. If AI keeps thinking for us, pretty soon, the only thing students will be exercising is their thumbs. Yes, AI tools can engage student learning. We cannot negate the fact that sometimes students just need to be taught straight, without the games, because there will be a time when they won't have them. Life isn't a multiple choice, and there won't be any hint buttons. They also claim that AI is a tool that gives prompts, but this generation already being so lazy, they will never be satisfied with just the prompt. They will continue nagging on AI to do better, do faster, do more human. AI is meant to just be a tool for creation and inspiration. Heavy regulations will make sure that AI remains the paintbrush and not the artist. Because if that happens, the only art we will have is lifeless strokes of code. They also claim that heavy regulation creates a barrier in AI, but regulations will not limit what AI can do, but rather what it can access. The lack of regulations would impede on our privacy. The opponents are like trying to bake a cake without any flour. Simply, it won't hold up. The opponents also discussed that parents should talk with their children about AI platforms. But I mean, come on. Most parents these days don't even know how to use the basic functions of their phones, much less to talk about AI. Heavy regulations will make sure that AI is developed properly to inherit the safeguards that is necessary to protect young people. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Trucard. For the judges, he took 2 minutes and 43 seconds. I'd now like to call on the lead speaker from the opposing team, the Pierre Charles Secondary School, Ms. Shenika Alexander, to the podium. Ms. Alexander has 3 minutes in which to deliver her rebuttal.
Good afternoon once again. Firstly, my opponent stated that AI-driven platforms limit creativity. But interestingly, creativity doesn't just appear in its inspiration and motivation. AI can provide both by offering new ideas and examples that sparks creativity, that sparks creative thinking. Interestingly, psychologist Lev Vygotsky would disagree. As stated in my speech, AI acts as the knowledgeable order by providing knowledge and acting as a better tutor or inspiration for them to lean on. Secondly, my opponent stated that AI destroys privacy. However, privacy issues are in every technology, whether social media or even phones. Instead of avoiding AI, we should focus on teaching young people how to protect their information. For example, like cookies. Young people have a choice to accept or decline cookies. Please remember, we are not against regulation. We are against heavy regulation. Let's embrace technology since we use it in our everyday life without even knowing. I thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Alexander. For the judges, her time was 1 minute and 30 seconds. So, ladies and gentlemen, students, debaters, this is the end of the semi-final debate between the Dominica Grammar School and the Pierre Charles Secondary School. And now all the work falls on the judges. So I'll ask at this time that the judges be escorted out of the room so that they can deliberate and return to us in quick time with the results. Yes, the key phrase, quick time with the results. Thank you, judges. And now that the work is over for our debaters, before I allow them to rejoin their peers, I'll just call their names once again and I'll ask you to give them a round of applause from the Dominica Grammar School, Mr. Zach and Miss Rennie Talbot. And from the opposing team, the Pierre Charles Secondary School, Ms. Shenika Alexander and Ms. So debaters, you can rejoin your peers at this time as we engage in a discussion on the topic and await the results of the judges. So please return. Please return to your Yes, ladies and gentlemen, students, we just witnessed a debate here on the topic of AI-driven platforms and whether they should be heavily regulated to protect young people's cognitive ability, creativity, and privacy. Now it's time for me to get your thoughts on some aspects of the discussion. And a lot of points were made. And the first question I wanted to ask, and I want the young people to answer, specifically the students. The first question I want to ask, is there anyone, that's for the students, in this room who does their homework and their assignments without utilizing some form of artificial intelligence platform? So my question is to the students in the room. I want to know if there is anyone here who will say or can say that they do their homework, their assignments, without checking or utilizing some AI platform. That is the question. I saw somebody's hand went up and then it went down. I guess that was a reconsideration. There's someone? Is this over? I have someone from the Dominican Grammar School. Yes? I want to know why. Why? So if you're saying you don't check or you don't utilize, why not? After?
I don't really have an explanation or expression to express myself, but to be honest, I do use AI platforms at times,
Okay.
but it's not for all subjects. The subject I would not use is maths because I don't think there is a sense for using AI for maths because honestly, I just think maths is just pretty good. So right now, AI should not be used for subjects like this.
Okay, so you think for certain subject areas, it's not necessary to use AI because that's strict brain work. That should be from you. That's what you're thinking. So mathematics, you gave us an example. Okay, I know some Miss Nova had her hand up as well. Her colleague has said that she's not telling the truth when she said she doesn't use AI on her homework and assignments. But let me hear what she has to say.
I can say barely, but like meaning that I sometimes don't use AI, but majority of the times I do. And there was this one situation where I say I could not use it for a majority of the time for 4 months because my phone got broken. I think that was the only reason it stopped me.
All right, thank you. The rest of you in the room know you're under pressure because, oh, okay. Our media personnel also wants to chime in.
I may be a little biased as an IT professional, but for knowledge purposes, as long as you do a Google search, whatever search engine you use AI. The problem is with the education in terms of how we use it and what we know about AI. Because of the current rise in more prevalent AI systems, we have a bias towards, let's say, ChatGPT or whatever. But AI has been there for a while. How else do you think Google search knows that you say, what is a dog? And it knows the words and the definition and can give you pictures. We all use AI. It's just about the context and how we use it. So it's education in terms of using it right and using it in ways that we benefit and not make ourselves lazy. Again, it comes down to accountability as an individual, knowing your limits, knowing to do something good for yourself and not let it be a long haul.
Thank you for that. And this brings into play the definition of AI, which had to be established from the start of the argument. So what he has just introduced is how are we defining what we're talking about when we say AI. I did hear some reference to, for instance, the popular ChatGPT, and I guess other AI applications. But just in general, Google, which we use, or just using using any sort of internet search engine. Have you understood that this is also a utilization of artificial intelligence? So I saw someone wanted to contribute. Yes? Oh, Shekai. I thought her hand was up too.
This
Okay.
answer your immediate question.
Uh-huh.
Back in my day, when I was in high school, like
A long time.
a long time ago, I specifically, as she said, certain subjects. So I didn't use AI or Google any type of research when it came to the subject history. When it comes to history, for any homework, any assignment, I strictly use my textbooks. I didn't go online, I didn't research anything. Why? Because, if you really think about it, history was documented in books. So I think the most purest form of the information that we can find itself is in books. So in terms of history, every assignment I was in those books. Take a page from my book, guys.
So she's making an interesting point, the utilization of books, which is the traditional form of research. Yes.
So she said back in the day, so even further back,
Uh-huh.
my days, in the 1999, 2000, early 2000, when we had only the library, which is no longer there. Well, I think it's relocated to somewhere else, but that was our only form of getting research done, picking up the encyclopedias. These were the things that we used for research. But now, having things like Google at your fingertips, I started on a dissertation of a friend, which actually revolved around AI. And one of the things the professors had a problem with is person submitting essays or research projects and just copy from an AI platform and provide it to them. But guess what? The professors themselves use an AI platform to detect if they were researched by AI. So I believe the regulation is needed. I think based on how we look at society right now, the heavily part of it is needed. And I guess when things maybe be regulated more, then they can backtrack a bit more on the regulation. But for now, before it gets out of hand, there's a heavy regulation I think is needed.
Okay, thank you for that. I have a question specifically for the 4 debaters in the room. And that question is, did you work on your debate preparation with the use of AI? So this is for the debaters. We'll hear first from the Pierre Charles Secondary School debaters. Was AI a part of this debate?
I think AI was a part of the debate.
You think?
But because the thing is, I doesn't watch speech. It's what I like saying, but even if it don't make sense, I just say it. So it's kind of operate check. So yeah, I'm pretty sure they use AI. I just don't have evidence to support that, but yeah.
Okay, well, for us, we're opposing, so obviously, I would say we need like help from our theorists, theorists, yeah.
Okay, now we hear our school debaters, Mr. Trokan, Ms. Talbot.
The only reason I use AI was just to come up with the points against them. So like what they would say, we were looking for disadvantages of heavy regulations so that we could properly prepare for rebuttals and just to have common knowledge of that, of the topic, so on both sides. And yeah, that's the only reason. And some of the punchlines, because when you're under stress, you can think of funny things. Chatty, our chatty friend, he helped us.
So helped you with the creativity. on the punchlines, okay?
Only because you're under stress, you know.
All right. Okay, so that's the caveat there, you're under stress. So I have a confession. I have been very, as an educator, I guess, behind the trend, behind it and not a part of the growing trend of using some of these AI platforms, such as ChatGPT. I understand there's so many others like Ask Claude and whatever else. And so I've been doing all my work up to now, like all my speech writing and everything, just, yes, with some Google interference, but not using ChatGPT, for instance. For this topic, I asked someone to check on the language, because for the topics, you have to make sure that the language is accurate so that it's debatable. So I had the concept of the topic and I wanted some guidance on language. Typically, I ask an English person, and the English person would use their English knowledge and tell me whether or not this is, a topic that's debatable or fair. So when I did ask an English used to be an English lecturer, the person said to me when I asked them about the wording of the topic, that they're going to put it in their AI platform. I believe it was ChatGPT. And then the person came back to me in about 10 seconds with a list of, what was good or bad about the topic, how it could be proposed, how it could be opposed, how the wording could be strengthened. And I was so amazed that I did take the suggestion on how to strengthen the topic. And that information came back. I WhatsApped the person and they gave me that response in about 15 seconds. So the confession here is that this topic was actually assisted by the use of ChatGPT. So we're going to lay that right here as a foundation. But another question I have for the young people in particular, I have two, but I'll start with this one. Back when Shakai said when she was in high school a long time, way back then, when I was in high school, way back then, they used to say to us, you need to learn to do, things, your computation and so on. You wouldn't always have a calculator, or you wouldn't always have, so you need to learn how to do certain things on your own. So at the time it was calculator, like, you wouldn't always have a calculator, that was a thing. And of course now we're so advanced that yes, we always kind of do have some of these tools in the form of our smartphones to assist us, Do you all think that there will ever be a world where we can prohibit young people from using some of the more recent AI platforms, I would say the ChatGPT and so on, in doing their work? So in the educational arena, do you think it's possible that we could have a world where that is restricted? Is it possible to restrict you all, young people, from the use of those AI platforms? I want to know somebody's thoughts on that. Is it possible to restrict you, I'm talking about in the classroom setting, from utilizing these platforms? Who wants to tell me their thoughts on that? Is it possible? I mean, a lot of discussion, which is good, but I want everybody to hear what are your thoughts. Who wants to take a stab at that? Is it possible to restrict the use of AI now in 2025 and beyond? I'm hearing a young man's voice and I'm seeing this over taking the mic. I think the mic should pass to the young man. I want to hear from you. Okay, this one will go first, you go second.
Well, no, because AI is practically everything. Google, like almost everything that we interact with online or through technology. And yeah.
Basically, it's the same thing you say. So, in modern technology, everything is called by AI, and That is how we go to like proceed in the future, I guess.
So, yeah, so you don't think it's possible for it to be restricted, at least not in the classroom among students?
No.
Okay, so you stand with your no. Anybody wants to agree with him or oppose what he said? Somebody wants to oppose what he said?
People.
Okay, so we have a debate going on here.
Well, I'll start by saying I don't think it's plausible that we can live in a society where AI is not there, because I mean Google Classroom uses AI for most of its stuff. But I think it should be restricted, because I mean, what would happen to the teachers? If AI teaching the students, that would make a lot of people go out of their jobs, like the education ministry. Like, what would happen to it if there's AI to take over? So I guess there should be heavy regulation.
Just obliterate the Ministry of Education. Okay, thank you. Who else wants to contribute? Can we restrict? Yes.
So, honestly, as already said before, yes, teachers, they use AI. They need to even, like, make their notes, like, fall in line with the syllabus of the school. But then again, I honestly don't think that we could possibly live in a world where AI is restricted, because AI is constantly developing, and like every day, like new servers are being made and everything. So I honestly don't think that would be possible.
Okay, thank you. I have my senior IT tech in the room. I want to know his view once again from an IT perspective on that question.
Alright, so from an IT perspective, right, I was not here for the debate. Let me start off by saying that. I actually just came into the room. And it's interesting to hear the answers that you all are giving now. And I am a person, I do not use AI. I do not use ChatGPT. I only believe that in some cases where you need to strengthen something, so for example, you say to come up with the points, I only believe it should be used in terms of, if you have the points, you know, you did the brain power, and then now you need something to strengthen it or go based off of connected dots. That is an appropriate use of AI. However, I do not believe that it is appropriate to use it for primary tasks, if that makes sense. So that's my stance on that. In terms of prohibiting it, I think it is inevitable. There will come a day very soon, probably even in the next 5 years, where they will crack down on the use, because as you said, it's advancing every day. So now how do you give that amount of power in, let's say, a personal assistant to someone that is under the age of 18 or attending high school? You understand? So again, these things are advanced. They can do a lot of things. Think about parental control, think about all of that. And so I think it's inevitable. It will come, there will be placing some restrictions, and I believe if it is done through personal assistance, it may be done in a way you don't even know. And so that is just my take on it.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Mr. Jean?
I think it's totally, I would say, impossible.
Okay.
The only way that could ever happen is for there to be a total ban on technology itself. And that would make no sense. Because the minute the restrictions come down, we're going to have our IT people, our programmers, our coders, they're going to find ways in and around the restrictions. Okay, and that is just a given. The more regulated any area is, the more you find what we call the black market or the under the table dealings in that particular area. So yeah, exactly. So to me it makes no sense to take that route. I prefer the route of education, public education, and proper information on the use of AI. I myself, I use AI. And the day I discovered AI was a very good day, because AI saves me a lot of time. Only things that you have to use it responsibly, because what I realized, it is not always accurate. I use it, every time I use AI, I double check what I do, and I triple check. I never just take anything from any AI platform and use it. I always double check, and I realize that there are a lot of errors sometimes, which is a good thing, so you always have to double check. In terms of the topic itself, regulating the use of AI. So I'm a practicing attorney, and regulations and laws. What is law? What is regulation? The whole ethos or principle behind law is to guide human and social behavior. Why? So that we can have a more cohesive society. We can have a society where there is peace and order. So there's nothing that is not regulated or should not be regulated. But I agree with the point that I think the proposing side makes, that we're not saying no regulation, not just not any heavy regulation. The heavier the regulation, I believe the more we will create a society where even the young people themselves, they will become what do you call them, I can't think of the word, the people who actually can crack different codes, and there's a particular name, the hackers, right? But they will be professional hackers, because they're like, okay, these are the regulations, this is how we're going to get around the system. So regulation, but even from a state point of view, I don't think I always believe that people have to be responsible, and for young people, the responsibility really lies on the parents and on the guardians and on the home. The state can put in place whatever regulations they want. It won't mean much if we don't have the enforcers, who are the parents of these young people, to check on what the use of AI among the kids and so on and so forth. So regulations, I know it's gonna come, because like I said, in society you need laws, you need regulations to kind of keep human beings, basically to control human behavior, if you check it out. Alright, but it shouldn't be too heavy, because the heavier it is, then it means that we're going to have more people trying to go against the grain.
And that actually, thank you, Mr. Chair, that actually leads me to maybe it will be my final question, if the judges are soon coming, but it was that if there would be heavy regulation, and that was for the young people, would the use of AI then become more attractive to you if there was heavy regulation, if there was some sort of prohibition, so to speak, of the use of certain things? Would that make that more attractive for you to try to use it, just because it's heavily regulated? So that was a question that I had. I don't know if anybody wants to volunteer. Let me take someone who wasn't debating. Before Mr. Troka, let's take someone who wasn't debating. Yes.
Okay, so anytime somebody says you cannot touch a legal tone, you always have something that tell you why can't I? And something that wants to push you to do it. So if they start to heavily regulate it, it's always going to have somebody to be, let's say, curious, and then to break, let's say, the password, and then they will be helping others. So it's always going to have somebody that will want to break through. So I feel like if you regulate it, you're going to end up having somebody breaking through, and then you're going to have the spread of AI again. It always come back.
Okay, I saw someone behind you, her hand was up. You changed your mind? It was you? Change your mind? Okay. Mr. Trocard?
I was going to article, sir.
I see another hand up at the back.
Okay, I just want to say that most of us, agencies especially, we were born into the world of technology. And I just feel like as we grow up, we need our lifestyle. So regulating it, I just feel like it might be very difficult for us to disconnect from technology. I know the price impact, but I just want to make sure that technology is going to develop.
Technology is going to? Develop, okay. Okay, thank you. And, okay, Shekai?
Okay, so the question was,
if it would be more attractive for you to use AI if there were heavy regulations placed on its use.
yes, it would be more attractive, and not even, I'm straight to it, but not even just with AI and technology. Just imagine, as young people, if they tell us that, for example, let me think, KFC closing in a month, permanently, for the next month, every day, KFC going to have people. People gonna be outside. They wanna put the lights outside. People gonna be outside. If they tell us that we cannot eat something for like going, like sugar. For example, sugar. Everybody was crunching for sugar. Everybody needed sugar because they have a shortage of it.
There was a scarcity.
So in terms of the AI, even the other day, Actually, I don't know how many of us knew, all of us knew, they were planning to ban TikTok in America. And that was such a thing on the media, like it was everywhere. People was losing their minds over it, people was already making memories. And guess what happened? Within a few days after they decided they were going to ban it, the people already get another app. They already migrated to another app. They're migrating to a Chinese app called Rebuttal or something. And they out there, they were saying, okay, ban it, but we have something else. So if they were to just ban or make us, take it away from us, it's not going to take us a week, probably days, for us to find something else, and that something else might be even more dangerous to us as we know it. So, yeah.
Okay, so I'm getting the general consensus is that if there were to be heavy regulations or restrictions on the use of certain AI technology, that would just cause people to find another way to utilize it. So, Ms. Drago, what's the update on the judges? Okay, the last question therefore is this: do you think, once again, young people, that you can compete with AI generated, meaning, and that's for the creatives in the room, the budding musicians or songwriters and so on, can you compete with AI generated music? What do you think? There's so many songs coming out. I think there was reference in somebody's speech, Mariah Carey, right? Do you think that if you were to make music, you could compete with that generated by AI? I'll take one person because the judges are back.
Every time we go on TikTok, we always see somebody talking or somebody doing a dance. And when you look at it in the description, you see it's AI. And when you go and look at the video game, you see all the inconsistencies and all the flaws the video has. So obviously, as a human being that can take their time and memorize and learn something, of course I can't compete with AI. I mean, humans that make it in the first place, so obviously we can better than something we make. I mean, if you have a dog, you cannot make a dog better than a human. It's a dog for a reason.
Thank you. Thank you. So thank you so much, audience. You were very wonderful. You were a quiet audience when it was time to wait for the rebuttal. And you were a very participating audience now in this discussion. Thank you so much. Give yourselves a round of applause for that. Thank you. Our judges are back. And without further ado, let me call on the Chief Judge, Mr. Edwards, to give the critique of the debate this afternoon. Mr. Edwards?
Good afternoon, debaters. Good afternoon to the audience. Good afternoon to the online listeners. And good afternoon to the judges, to the other judges and the organizers of this very spirited debate. This exercise had quite a lot of energy. And the interesting thing is that it focused on a subject that is very topical. So I think the listeners are grateful that they've been educated on the pros and cons of AI and the pros and cons of regulation. So for those of you who assisted the audience within here and the external audience in understanding more about this interesting topical subject, give yourself a round of applause. I think the teachers who participated in the preparation of the debate teams should also be given a round of applause. So the listeners out there and those in here are much more acquainted with the pros and cons of AI and the pros and cons of regulation. Thanks to you. Okay, our job is to give a critique. So I'll just give some pointers and as what we saw as strengths and pointers on what we saw as weaknesses. And the purpose of these pointers is to allow the debaters and the teachers who are preparing debate teams to improve preparation. That's the purpose. we saw evidence of very good research as illustrated by the authorities that were referenced. So, so that was good. We saw that in a couple of the past debates, but this afternoon, that was pretty good as well. Something that I've not seen much of before, which we identified today, was a very excellent use of analogies, and analogies that could be understood by the Dominican community. So that was good. That enriched the nature of the debate, and I'm sure helped to captivate the attention of the audience. We saw examples of good references to alternatives to regulation, and we saw varied delivery of punchlines. Some persons delivered some very good punchlines, but didn't make use of it, and some people had some good punchlines which captivated the audience, but didn't make very good use of it. Okay. In some areas where performance was less than adequate, we saw what we interpreted as inadequate distinction between heavy regulation and regulation that is less than heavy. So we're talking about the exact wording of the subject. And some people missed that point. Some arguments were pitched at regulation, but didn't draw that distinction between regulation that is heavy and regulation that is less than heavy. And of course, you can use another word, another phrase than less than heavy. Some of the debaters did a bit too much reading in their presentation, so that they were not looking at the audience, but probably if you divided the time, they spent more time looking at the script. Our job is not to identify those. Some debaters displayed a bit too much theatrics. The body language that came across like a Hollywood scene, you know. The teachers preparing the debaters might want to look at some very good examples of how debates are conducted. And one example that stands out in my mind, which I think is a nice model that many people look at, is the behavior of parliamentarians in the UK Parliament. Except when people are throwing the punch. But generally, that's a good model. And you see the posture and the intonation, and those are things that can be emulated to make your debate more competitive, your presentation more competitive. So there was a bit too much theatrics. Generally, the rebuttal did not leverage the amount of time that you were allocated. 5 minutes, inadequate use of that time. 3 minutes, sorry, inadequate use of that time. And finally, we think, and this is for the teachers who are preparing the teams, we think that there could be improved use of English in terms of the pronunciation and intonation and that sort of thing. But it was a very spirited debate, and again, congratulations to you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Edwards, and the rest of the judges as well. I will now call on the debaters to resume their positions at the front of the room when we will hear the verdict when they return. So on the proposing side from the Dominica Grammar School, Mr. Zadi Trocard and Ms. Renee Talbot. And on the opposing side from the Pierre Charles Secondary School, Ms. Shenika Alexander and Ms. Myra Dover, please take their positions at the front. So it's verdict time. It's the time that we've been waiting for, right? To find out not just who will make it to the finals, but who the judges have determined to have won some of the awards this afternoon. I will start by announcing that this afternoon we have a prize for the best rebuttal. And this afternoon, the judges have determined that the best rebuttal came from the proposing team from the Dominica Grammar School. In the person of Mr. Zadi Trocard, and I see that by the points that he was allocated for that rebuttal. We'll give the prizes after. We're just calling out the results. The judges have also determined that another special prize this afternoon, which is the Best Speaker Prize, they have determined that this prize has been won this afternoon by Renee Talbot. The Dominica Grammar School. So those were the special prizes. And now I will let you know what the judges have scored in totality out of a possible 780 points grand total. This is what the students have accumulated. One team has accumulated 698 points and another team has accumulated 579 points. And I will now announce who is who. So the second place, or the runner-up this afternoon, is the Pierre Charles Secondary School with 579 points, which means that the winners are from the Dominica Grammar School. A total score of 698 points. And that means that the Dominica Grammar School, for the first time, will be in the finals of the intersecondary school. So congratulations to them. I will now, like Ms. Drago, who has been the main assistant here, judge's assistant, now giving prizes, to assist with giving out the prizes. We'll start with the best rebuttal, which I announced was won by Mr. Zadi Trocard of the Dominica Grammar School. Mr. Trocard gets a certificate now, but he will be getting an Amazon gift card from our sponsor this afternoon for that prize, who is Dr. Shana Kazimi, sponsoring the Best Rebuttal Prize this afternoon. So Mr. Trocard will get that gift card later for his use. I'm saying that so all parents hear loudly. All right, the Best Speaker Prize. This prize was in part sponsored by Shams Eats, Treats and Drinks, and this person being awarded the prize is Miss Renee Talbot of the Dominica Grammar School. In addition to what she's getting from Shams Eats, Treats and Drinks, she's also getting a cash prize and her trophy for being the best speaker this afternoon. Congratulations. And now, I'd like to call on the Pierre Charles Secondary School, the runners-up in this afternoon's debate. And I will note that this is the Pierre Charles Secondary School's first time in this competition, and they made it to the semi-finals, which was no small feat. So I would like to call on, first of all, Ms. Shenika Alexander to receive a prize, runner-up in the semi-finals. She receives a cash prize as well as a Bluetooth speaker, sponsored by Miss Janine Christian. So that's Miss Alexander. And Miss Dover as well receives the same thing. So congratulations, as I said, to the Pierre Charles Secondary School, and I will hope they will be back in this competition next year after making their debut this year and making it all the way to the semi-finals. So congratulations to them. The Dominica Grammar School at the finals for the first time this year. The winners are going to be rewarded. I'll call on Mr. Trocard first to get his prize. The winners this afternoon will receive a gift certificate to Multiverse Games, as well as a prize sponsored by Freeman Consulting LLC, and of course his trophy. And they will be aiming for the grand prize at the finals, which is a trip for to St. Lucia. So that's the grand prize that they're going on to compete for. And Ms. Talbot, I'll call you up now to receive your prize. So I encourage the debaters to relax before the finals at Multiverse Games and de-stress a bit, right? I understand from Mr. Trocard, when the stress was high, they had to rely on AI for some of their punchlines. So congratulations, of course, to the Dominica Grammar School. We would like to also give a token to our coach, who is not going to be with us in the finals. And that is the coach from the Pierre Charles Secondary School, Ms. Jonas. We have a token for her, gift certificate from Fresh Markets. And I want to point out that I encouraged her to participate in this competition. I saw her coaching at the Schools Arts Festival, choral speech, and I said, you need to bring Pierre Charles Secondary into the competition, and she successfully did so. Congratulations, coach. And our judges who have given us their time and their expertise this afternoon. We'll start with the Chief Judge, Mr. David Edwards, a token of our appreciation for your efforts this afternoon. Thank you. Ms. Merita Hyacinth, thank you so much. And Ms. Nadine Riviere. And thank you. I would like to thank everybody who has assisted, of course, the members of the committee who assist with the debates, Ms. Shania Droigo, who is my right hand, and my mom, who is here as well, assisted, Ms. Jajak, the members of the Dominica State College Literary and Debating Society who assist, Ms. Shakai Andrew, who was our timekeeper. Thank you so much to the schools who were represented here today, and very, very well represented. Thank you for your participation. To the parents who came out, to the supporters who came out, and to the media, of course, for your coverage. Thank you so much. We will meet again at the finals, April 16th. So the Dominica Grammar School, that date is important. April 16th, we will convene again at the finals. It will be the Dominica Grammar School versus the Orion Academy. April 16th is the date. So thank you so much, everyone, and I look forward to seeing you again at the finals. Have a good afternoon. So before, there are drinks, so before everyone leaves, please take a drink. And also, debaters, I would like you to take some photos together and separately as well.
This has been the Intersecondary Schools Debating Competition 2025 Semi-Finals Round 2. Today we had the Dominica Grammar School proposing against PHL Secondary School on the topic AI-driven platforms should be heavily regulated to protect young people's stability, ability, creativity, and privacy. Of course, we had the Dominica Grammar School coming out first place today, so we'll see them at the finals on April 17th against the Orion Academy. On behalf of Emonews and team, thank you for joining us today.